So let's backtrack a little bit.
I understand. Okay. Got off on a...
Where in the timeline of the three schools
Right.
did you meet Mercy?
One day, during my third year of college, I saw this girl from my house in El Sereno. Because I lived there.
You were looking out the window?
I was either looking out the window or I was outside mowing the lawn. I'm not sure what I was doing. I have a feeling I did see her from the window because I remember her going by. I had never seen her up until that time. She was wearing one of those big type of skirts that had petticoats.
Okay.
So it was a really full skirt at the bottom. But she walked by and I said, "Who's that?" See, to myself.
Oh, yeah.
Well, as it turned out, I found out who it was because right across the street, my wife's sister, Frances, lived across the street from us.
Really? Okay.
And Mercy, for the second time in her life, the place where she lived was, in both places, taken over by the state of California to make a freeway.
Eminent domain?
That's what it was.
Okay.
And
was she living with Francis?
Both times she was living with her family. One was in East Los Angeles. And they came by, and right now the Freeway 5 is right there in its place. It's gone.
Wow.
The house is gone.
House is gone.
So what happened is because they still had quite a few of her family at home, but they bought the home again for the second time, eminent domain. And so while they're waiting to find another house or build their own house, they split up the family. Well, Mercy went to the house of Frances, who lived right across the street from me.
Across the street, yeah.
So she was going to stay there until the house was built, until she could move back with her parents at the house. And that's when I saw her. So that's when I found out who it was. However, this other part I kind of feel bad about in a little bit. But next door...
It turned out well.
No, this is what I'm going to say. Next door to me, also across the street from Frances, where Mercy was staying, was another girl. And apparently I have a feeling she liked me. For what reason, I don't know, but she did like me, okay? And I guess she had a crush on me, okay? And of course, at that point, I don't know things like that, okay? Because what I did was, I went to her, because she's my next door neighbor, and I said, "Hey, do you know that girl across the street who I just saw walking in the street?" She says, "Yeah, I know. I met her. I know who she is." Oh.
Trying to get some intel.
I did. And I said, and make a long story short, I don't know, it was the first time I talked to her. Her name was June. I said, "Hey, June, can you find out a little bit about her?" And I said, "Can you set me up a blind date?"
Oh, really? Wow. Asking a lot of June.
And don't forget, she had a crush on me, and I really didn't know that. And
she was your wingman.
And I asked her to, I must have burned cold on her heads when I asked her to do that, because she liked me. And here I'm asking her to set a blind date for the girl across the street.
You didn't realize how much she liked you.
No, not at that time. And she did. She set up the blind date, and what made it even more interesting was that we made it a double blind date. First of all, Frances, her sister, where she's staying, knows me, knows my parents. So to her, it wasn't a blind date. She knew who I was, and coming from, quote, a good stock, end of quote. and then, so my best buddy in high school, his name was Henry. We set up a double blind date. And Mercy's relation was the other girl that came on that blind date. So Henry and I went with Mercy and her relation. this gets complicated, okay? Because of the size of the Delgado family.
Yeah.
But it was like her aunt.
Yeah.
But it was the same age.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah, yeah.
a tricky thing. But she was willing to go on the blind date too.
Did things work out between Henry and...
And oh yeah,
And
he
her?
was yeah, Henry's up for it. He didn't have any problem. And again, don't forget, she's staying with her sister, and she knows me, so she's assuming I'm not going to have a gang member come join us or something like that, and go to the wrong places. So she must have vouched for me. And then we set up the blind date. And our first date, blind date, double blind date, was at the opening night of the Hollywood Bowl during the summer. And they played one of my favorite pieces there, and that's why I wanted to go to the opening night. Les Prelude by Liszt. And that's where I took her for our first date. Up in the bleachers in Hollywood Bowl. And
You guys did like a picnic? You brought some...
No, back at that time they didn't have things like that.
Okay.
This is 100 years ago now you're talking about. Let me give you an example of how far back I was economically. Before I went on this blind date, I used to go with my best friend Henry to Hollywood Bowl concerts. And we buy the nosebleed seats. 50 cents.
Well, good deal.
50 cents. And of course, when the concert started, as long as the seats weren't filled, we'd move down if we needed to, whatever, but 50 cents it cost. If you wanted to see a concert with Pavarotti, it's $125 a seat.
Oh, yeah, no.
And I'm paying now a seat probably $35 or $40 over the midsection of the Hollywood Bowl. Back then it was 50 cents. Now I'm paying $35 to $40 a seat. When we got back, dropped her off next door.
Yeah.
Across the street with, her name was Angie.
Okay.
The other girl's name was Angie. Oh, by now has already passed away. And I'm sure they had things that the girls talk about, and they talked about to Frances, her sister. And I'm across the street, and Henry and I are sitting outside the house talking about what's going on. And I told him, because I remember, I said, Henry, I don't know why, but I think this is it. What do you mean this is it? I think this is a person I'm gonna wind up
You had a
with.
crush on her instantly.
So
More than that.
and that was on the first date. And don't forget, I just met her through the window.
Yeah.
Up until that time, I'd never talked to her. That was the first time we talked.
Yeah, that night you knew.
That was it. And so, they say the rest is history, I guess. Then we were engaged for 2.5 years. I met after 6 months of knowing her and dating her during my third year of college. We waited 2 years before we got married. After the 6 months, during Christmas, I asked her to marry me. After 6 months, and then we waited 2 years because I was still going to school.